Hello and welcome to the fifth and final part of my talk on humanoid robots. And I wanted to repeat here that this talk is based on my book Homo Syntheticus, How Humans and Machines Merge, which is available in bookstores starting June 4th, 2026. The book's in German, just to give you a heads up for that. And because artificial intelligence is an important part for humanoid robots, they are basically the brain of the robots. I also wanted to point out to my two German books, Wenn Affen von Affen lernen, When Monkeys Teach Monkeys, about general principles of AI and the history of it. And then the more specific one, Creative Intelligence, which is dealing more with generative AI, such as ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. But let's move into humanoid robots and what they mean. Humanoid robots, we've learned a lot now. They are also a new form of mobility, not only like cars driving outside. Humanoid robots not just walking outside, but basically walking inside buildings. So this is a new form of mobility. And it also has spillover effects into other sectors that I wanted to dive in. One of them is it gives ideas to completely different types of robots. And this here is an example from a company that showed this rendering of a robot that's basically a lamp doing stuff. Let's just take a look at it. So we see here complete new form of robot. We may have never thought about that, but every object in your house could become a robot that is helpful in other ways. Here's one more example. We all love and know Pixar, the animation studio in Emeryville in the San Francisco Bay Area. And we also know that it is this little lamp there that is adorable. Now, Apple researchers have taken that and taken such a lamp, put on actuators, projectors, microphones, cameras into that one. And now this robot is just a lamp that is helpful in very different ways for a human. Now, they also did two different types of that. One is a functional robot that just does what it's supposed to do, but nothing else. And the other one is expressive robot, which has a kind of attitude and is very adorable when we look at it. But just take a look at it.
It should be sunny today. The temperature ranges between 17 to 25 degrees Celsius during the day. 20% humidity, a little dry.
I'll probably go for a hiking today.
That sounds like a great plan. I love hiking. Will you bring me?
No, sorry, we're not allowed at this time. Maybe next time.
Isn't it adorable? Yeah. So you will see that we will have a lot of those different objects suddenly coming into our households, and we will be surprised probably what we see. Also for amputees, this is a very interesting development. You may see that here with one prosthetic hand that is being used by this amputee. And in the past, such hands were pretty expensive because they were unique designs for this individual, and they were often not very capable, those prosthetic hands that you see here. But with the mass production of humanoid robots, we will not only get a lot of varieties of hands, but also hands that are way more capable than you may imagine. Also, think of it as depending on where you're going, what you're doing, you may have different types of hands. Going to the opera, you're going to an event, you have a maybe nicer hand or more hand with decorations. While when you do work, you have a hand that's steady, or you may have a hand that's just made out of tools. But let's take a look at the video. So some good news for people who need such prosthetic hands and other prosthetic limbs. Or if you are a worker, or maybe you want an extension of yourself, let's just take a look at this guy here.
Makita Baki, the personal robot assistant built for the job site. 2 powered arms hold the sheetrock so you don't have to.
Rock stays, I drive.
Need a hand setting a door?
Yeah, comics are coming alive like Dr. Octopus, Spider-Man. Suddenly you can have 2 more arms or 4 more arms and maybe 2 more legs and do stuff that you couldn't have done before.
Makita Baki.
Now, we are seeing basically a transition from pure human to more a mixture of a human and a robot or technology. We see basically us moving from humanism to transhumanism. We are in the middle of that transformation already because it starts with the food. None of the food that we're eating is natural or was in the nature like this. For thousands of years, humans have bred new animals, have grown new types of crops by mixing the right ones that have more yield than others. We also have medication that we take. We have vaccinations that we take. We have clothing. That's all technology. We use glasses that help us maybe to see better and make us functional. We may have implants in our body that help us live better. So you already see that we are not pure humans anymore. Everyone has even a cognitive extension, a cell phone, a smartphone, for example. And on the other side, we have humanoid robots that we've seen. There are soft robots, hard robots that are made out of plastics and metals. But we also see here a trend already where they are merged in hybrid versions with organoid stuff. So let's say organic brain cells are put on silicon chips, and they are basically using each other's advantages and processing faster. So artificial skins, just think of those things, what's all going to come here. And so we will go from robotism to trans-robotism in order to use the same terms for humanism and transhumanism. And somewhere in the middle, those two will meet. And then the question arises from a societal perspective, what are the rights and the duties of those hybrid life forms? And if they develop conscience, is turning them off comparable to killing them? So are we allowed to do that? So there will be a lot of interesting questions coming up with that. Now we've been in the 6th cycle of the Kondratiev wave, cycle rates, artificial intelligence and robotics. We just entered that. We're in the middle of it. We are basically seeing now all this progress here. And of course, a lot of people are always talking about or are afraid of robots taking away jobs or being a threat to us, killing us. All our popular culture movies are talking about that. But also, of course, newspapers we are talking about that. Here's the German magazine. It's a weekly magazine, Der Spiegel, that has used over the years over and over covers talking about is the computer or our robots, or is AI making us jobless? Is taking away? Are they dangerous? Are they killing us? Are they taking over and controlling us? Well, you see, this is a pattern, 60, 70 years already, and it's not has not led to mass unemployment. It has not led to people getting killed en masse by those technologies. No, they have made our lives better. And probably, or with a high probability, this next wave will be doing the same. It will bring us a lot of chances and opportunities and create new jobs and not make us jobless. And that leads us to the seventh cycle, that is basically also with trans-robotism and transhumanism meeting there, where we will have then artificial life starting around 2024, plus minus 2, 3, 4 years. We will probably have something like nuclear fusion, and there comes then, what do we do if we have infinite energy? What could we do? Or quantum computing, quick calculation, yeah, new processing power that is here. What would we be able to do with that? But that is a little bit far out, and that's probably the topic for the future books that I'm writing. Which brings me to the last part is about resources. Where can you learn more? First, I have a bunch of websites. So if you want to know more about mobility in general, like autonomous driving and electric vehicles, I have the website called The Last Driver License Holder, where I'm always reporting about my experiences in the Silicon Valley and the developments there of these companies. So check that out. I also have a website called technophilosoph.com, where I'm reporting about the topic that we dealt with in this presentation, about humanoid robots, about AI, about the many other technology topics that you may find interesting. And then one that looks in a different way at it, it's Future Angst, where I'm looking at this fear and these risks that people are always bringing up and trying to navigate you through that fears and how to look properly at technology and not making you feel guided and suppressed by those fears that you have because these new technologies are coming and you don't know much about that yet, and there are risks and so on. So just check that out as well. I also have books, a bunch of books. Some of them are actually also in English and other languages, like The Last Driver's License Holder is in English and French, and in 2 Chinese languages available. I have the book about humanoid robots coming out in June 2024. The AI books are already out there. And then books that talk about mindset, but also language, like Sorry Not Sorry, The Art of the Non-Apology, or Killer Phrases for Beginners. Not only can you destroy with that relationships, but you also can stifle innovation and creativity in your organization. So, and that's often not what we want, but we inadvertently do because we're not aware of our language. I also have Cyberfucked, which is a book about how women are getting harassed online and what we can do against it. It also has a lot to do with language. Future Angst is a book based on the website, or the website based on the book, so to speak, where I'm going into these discussions. But then I have one book that's called Foresight Mindset, and that is one where I go through the methodology of how I look into this future, of how I come up with my projections, how technology could develop. Because it's methodologically, you can really go and forecast for the next 3 to 5 or even 10 years how technology will develop. You may not be able to predict what company will be coming up with the product that changes the world, but you have a better idea of this is a technology that's probably coming because all the building blocks are already here. I also have workshops that I do conduct either in Silicon Valley when you come to me or in other places wherever you invite me. So about foresight mindset, about the innovation mindset, growth and fixed mindset, but also about AI and humanoid robots. And I always have delegations visiting the Silicon Valley where I'm either coming for a talk, meeting those delegates interested in seeing new technology, uh, or I may take them whenever I can for a ride in a driverless car, because once you experience that, your opinion will change completely about that. Or Silicon Valley tours, I have sometimes delegations that are approaching me and telling me, Mario, we've seen your talk, we've read your book, we've seen your presentations. Can you help us to get in touch with some of the companies? We want to come with a bunch of people and experience it ourselves. And then I create a program for that and trying to cover topics that you're interested in, but also topics that you may not aware of. So just get in touch with me. Of course, I mentioned it already, workshops. I'm always in Europe or other places, and I'm also giving talks. I'm attending conferences where I'm invited to keynote there. I am also being invited often by companies to give a presentation for their employees or their partners. So get in touch with me. I talk about autonomous vehicles, mobility in general. I talk about humanoid robots, artificial intelligence, and so on. Just get in touch with me if you're interested in doing that. And last but not least, my contact information. Here's my email, mario.herger@gmail.com. Here are my websites. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I have here the QR code. Get to that. And with that, you finally made it. You're at the end of the presentation. And thank you so much for sticking with me and showing interest in this talk. Thank you.